All right. Good morning and welcome everybody to Coffee with Markus and Mark. Last day live from Las Vegas, where we
Yes.
have our mastermind meeting, a live boardroom, and super excited to be here. I mean, it has been a great week.
It has. It has. Lots of fun, lots of education, great content, although markets have been a little lackluster.
Yeah, and this is what we have here in the room, a cricket.
Yes.
It is so interesting. This morning we have been chasing a cricket that has been here. Anyhow, so before we dive in, just formally want to welcome you to Coffee with Marcus and Mark, the number one stock market update show on Spotify and one of the most popular market updates on YouTube. So in this show, we are going to talk to you about what's happening in the markets and how we are trading it. And today is Thursday, June 8th already. And I mean, stocks are a little bit changed. We talked about it. There's a couple of stocks that are making big moves this morning. We'll talk about those. Carvana and GameStop are movers this morning. We also had initial jobless claims, and we had a surprise there. So we'll show you what's happening there and how the markets are reacting to this. By the way, if this is your first time here, I'm Markus Heitkoetter. This is my head coach, Mark Hodge, and we're real traders who trade a live account. So therefore, we got a lot of experience, and we're showing you how we trade these crazy markets. So trust me, we know our stuff, and we're not afraid to tell you like it is. So if you're here looking for some honest insights into the fascinating world of trading, you're definitely in the right place. And looking at these markets, I mean, we moved higher last Friday and have been hanging out ever since.
Yeah, look at that. We're just shy of 4,300 in the S&P, getting just within a point twice this week. Last time we were above 4,300, I think, was August of 2022.
Yeah, and this seems to act as some resistance right now. So, I mean, we knew that the first resistance that we had to take out was the 4,200 level. Yay, we've done this, and now 4,300 is the next because there's not much going on this week.
Yeah, no real catalysts here. There are some individual names that have had some decent moves. We could talk about that, but overall, just not a whole lot going on. And it was interesting. Pre-market, it looked like we were going to be down a little bit, and that was what we saw yesterday. But then we just kind of drifted higher.
Yeah, I mean, this morning when I prepared for the show, I mean, it looked like we were just stalling because you see, yesterday after we had the slide, we have just been going sideways and not going anywhere. But right now, it seems that we are moving higher. Although this is a super small move that we are seeing here.
Sure.
I mean, from the low to the high, we're looking at a 0.5% move. I mean, this is not, you cannot call it a rally.
Yeah. Now, yesterday, S&P and the Nasdaq finished lower. The Dow finished higher, but the Nasdaq took a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, but this is where we go back to the Magnificent Seven. I think yesterday it was Apple moved a little bit lower, so we had Apple down almost 1%. I think Google also moved lower yesterday, if I remember correctly. So Google, a larger move here, 3.9%. I believe it was Meta also being part of the slide yesterday. And I mean, this is just, look at this. This is some profit taking. We're looking at a daily chart here. That's all that is.
You could be right there, Marcus. After that drift, I mean, these pullbacks are normal, especially if there really isn't any catalyst to move the market. We know that right now it's the Fed.
It's the Fed. That's what we're waiting for. And I mean, today, I mean, this is changing right now on a hourly basis, definitely on a daily basis. So right now, traders are factoring in a 72% probability that the Fed will keep rates the same, 27% probability that they will raise rates. I mean, we talked about it over and over. I'm also in the camp. They'll keep it the same for this meeting.
Yeah, yep. I think that will be the case, but you're right. We're flip-flopping, and every now and then you'll get that interest in raising rates, and we'll just have to see. Next week, next Wednesday, is the day we will find out. They kick off their two-day policy statement or two-day policy meeting on Tuesday.
It is in exactly
6 days, 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 30 seconds.
Yes. And in the meantime, we knew that the economic calendar was super light. One of the things that happened this morning, unemployment claims jumped unexpectedly.
That was a little bit interesting, and you see that it is a red flag report. We know that in general, these weekly unemployment claims or jobless claims typically aren't that big of a deal, but investors are keeping an eye on these. on unemployment, right? These first-time claims actually came in at the highest that they've been since October 2021. That was
Okay.
interesting.
Well, and that's kind of what the Fed wants, a
Sure.
softening job market. And we had the big jobs report last week. And this is where we saw, okay, the non-farm employment change, that came in much better than expected. But the
Sure.
unemployment rate and the average hourly earnings were lower or in line with expectations. And that's why we had the rally last week. So
Exactly.
right now it seems to be a little bit focused on jobs.
I would agree.
Right. Now, just since we are here looking ahead to next meeting, next week is a big week going on. We have the core CPI and CPI coming out. We have then on Wednesday the PPI and the Fed meeting. So this is where next week we should see some action.
Yeah, a lot of inflation data and then the Fed. So I agree. There's a lot going on next week, not a whole lot going on this week. And we'll just have to see if we could break through that 4,300 level in the S&P or if traders get a little bit fearful going into the weekend.
Yeah. Now, the Fed said that they want to watch numbers. Do you believe that they will factor in what's coming out on Tuesday and Wednesday?
I believe at this point they probably have enough information to lean towards a decision, but if there was a major surprise, they could definitely be using that data.
Yeah. So this is where we will probably see this flip-flopping a few more times ahead of the meeting. We'll see what happens there. What I also noticed this morning, look at the VIX. I mean, the VIX, the fear index right now below 14.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
this is trading at levels that we haven't seen. Oh my gosh, look at this. I have to really go back before the pandemic.
Yep.
February 2020.
The very early stages of the pandemic, but we see that big spike there when things really got out of control.
Yeah.
So yeah, back at those levels.
Wow. All right, before we look at our positions, we talked about it. A few stocks are making a move this morning, one of them being Carvana. I mean, Carvana right now up 25% this morning.
Impressive move, and here, what was it? They announced an improved outlook, right?
That's it. I mean, see, no earnings. They just said, you know what? Things are looking good. And I mean, looking back a little bit, they have been sliding. Look at this. Carvana, once the darling, especially during the pandemic, a clear pandemic winner.
Crazy moves.
After this, coming back below the pre-pandemic levels and has been hovering here. Yeah, I mean, as low as what here? A few dollars? Now back up close towards $20
Wow.
here. Now talking about some crazy moves. GME, GameStop in the news this morning. Again, after making super crazy moves here in 2021. And it seemed that it had stabilized at a much, much higher level than they were before. The whole meme stock craziness started happening. But then this morning, some news and a 20% dip.
Yeah, this was interesting because you're right. It seemed like we went from craziness to something that was a little more stable. But GME announced that they have fired their CEO.
Yeah, and it also seems that activist investor Steve Cohen is now interim chairman. So I'm a little bit surprised that the stock dipped on this news. Seems that everybody, well, I can kind of understand. I mean, it's a new CEO, so what will he do? How will he change everything?
Yeah, and I think that part of this was when, over the last year, I think it was, they started to get interested in NFTs and kind of get into that hype. And then there's some either announcement or discussion, I'm not sure, that they're getting back to their standard business, right? So maybe the lack of the NFT hype and getting back to just being a retailer doesn't really interest investors.
All right, let's take a look at our positions, and not too much happening here with our positions because we've been looking for trading opportunities this week, but with these super quiet markets, what we need as wheel traders is some volatility, and there has been none.
Exactly, because when you have volatility that gets priced into options, and as sellers, we could take advantage of that. And when things are very quiet, we can get some premium, but we don't want to pick up a couple of pennies and then actually see that move we've been waiting for, where we could get 10 times what we got when things were quiet.
Yeah. So, no positions yet. I kind of had hoped before we look at these two positions that we have this morning, looking at a 5-minute chart of the S&P 500. Okay, we continue kind of the slide that we started yesterday. It almost looked like it, but then really at 10 o'clock Eastern time, half an hour into trading, up and away. On absolutely no news at all.
If we were betting stakes and looking at this chart right after the open, I would have bet that we were falling to 4,200.
And that's what we talked about last night when we had stakes with the team, that we need to have more stake bets.
A few more stake bets.
So we need to do this. Okay. Any bet that jumps out at you this morning?
Nah.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to the positions, and we have CTRA, Coterra Energy. After this massive run up this morning, a little bit of a pause, down 1%. I mean, after rising here, let's just measure this move. I think it is almost 10% that we went up there. Wait, didn't grab it. Here we go. I think this was here. Yeah, a 9% move. So a little bit of a pause here. I think we're good there. And I want to take a look at crude oil. Because crude oil, when I checked it earlier, it was up. Yeah, look at this. Crude oil still a little bit all over the place on a 5-minute chart. Looking at a daily chart, we are still in this range between 65 and 75.
Also trying to find some direction.
Yeah. All right, okay, back there. And then we have PNC, Financial Services. I mean, hanging in there, starting to attack the upper range that we wanted to see it. And your cost base is at 135 for the 136?
136.
136. So, I mean, it's getting close for you to start looking at possibly selling calls against your existing position.
Sure. I mean, I'm loving this move. Higher 4 out of the last 5 trading sessions. Not quite high enough to get the premium that I would like. I mean, this is where our target is 30% annualized, and I really don't like selling calls below my cost basis. So I'm looking to sell calls at my cost basis or higher. Don't feel I need to force this right now, but would love to see this pop up towards 130 and beyond.
Yeah. I looked at some of our darlings that we have been trading over the last few weeks. I wanted to check if there's anything that we can trade in GM, but look at this, General Motors, also a huge, massive move. And we like to sell puts at support here. So I did it at 32, 31.50, 31. Right now, in order to get the 30% annualized that we are looking for, we would have to sell the 35. Not too interested in this one.
Just too high.
Yeah. And then I thought, okay, it seems that maybe energies are pulling back a little bit. So looking at the heat map this morning, it seems that energies are slightly down. And this is where I always look for bright red spots on the heat map. I thought, okay, so MPC, PXS, Phillips 66, maybe even Valero, looking at that. And Valero could be interesting. Let's take a look at this. We looked at this earlier, right?
Sure. So there's some short-term support that's pretty decent, but I would be a little closer to 100, maybe 100 to 105, and 107 is still a little high.
Yeah, and that's where I looked at SU this morning and wanted to see. I mean, SU, we like the 28. You traded the 21.50. Right now, it's trading at 29.50, so a little bit too high for that.
Yeah, it was a 27.50 that I traded, but yeah, I like it around 28, and right now just a little too high.
Yeah. I mean, other than this, it's really interesting to see again that we have all of the tech stocks up here, right? I mean, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Google, Amazon, Tesla. So they seem to be bouncing back. And then we have the bank stocks here that are a little bit lower, but not a whole lot going on.
Look at, pull up Morgan Stanley. I'm just curious, MS.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Still too high there. And then take a look at Visa. I'm just curious.
Okay, yeah. Still too high. Let's take a look at UPS. UPS is also something that we have traded. A little bit lower. 165.
Tuesday morning, 165. Yeah.
Tuesday morning, that was the trade. Was available there. Just see. They're a little bit lower today. So let's go back just to the overall markets and see what's happening there. If maybe this move to the upside is stalling and maybe we're turning around. Yeah, it seems that we are pausing here at these levels right now. And again, trying to break through the 4,300
Trying to get up there.
Okay. Well, we'll start trading with our mastermind members here right now and see what we can find as opportunities. So hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new here. And then we'll see you again tomorrow.
Happy trading, everybody.